Hello, this is the TradeSite U.S. Stocks and Futures Market Preview for Thursday the 6th and Friday the 7th of December 2018. This is the last preview for the week. It's been a strange week in a lot of ways. We'll talk about it in a minute, but this is because we don't typically do market previews for Friday. This will suffice for the rest of the week. We'll talk about the economic data that's coming out. We'll talk about what's happened so far this week, and we'll go from there. So, Monday was a gap up and hold day. We closed a little lower than we opened, but mostly held up a big gap. And then Tuesday we sold off sharply on the some conversations about some of the tariffs that I think are impacting the holiday season, but also on news that the yield curve may be inverting. And so it was a big down day on Tuesday. And then Wednesday the market was closed for President H.W. Bush's funeral. And so we haven't had any reaction yet. So here's the ES front month futures contract. This is the daily chart of the broad market and futures form. So you can see on Tuesday we had made a new high for the last month, ran into that resistance area that we hit twice in October and November, and then now on Wednesday, or that was Monday, sorry, and on Tuesday then we sold off sharply, put us back into the lower half of the range of the last couple of months. The white candle that you see for Wednesday is not relevant because the markets weren't open. That's just the futures. So let's go through the major indices, and then we'll talk about what's left this week. Here's crude oil down 33 cents, closing at 52.92. It's up a little bit off the lows. Gold down 4. But trying to make new highs. S&P cash index, this was on Tuesday, lost 90 points. So again, you can see that gap up day on Monday, held with a doji candle, and then opened fairly flat, little gap down on Tuesday, and then just sold off hard in the afternoon. Here's the Nasdaq 100, same story, the big gap up and held, and then sold off sharply. That was, by the way, it was down 266.92 points. One of the biggest down days on the Nasdaq, probably the top 3 for the year. The SOX loses 63.39. Biotech's down 122.13. Russell 2000 loses 68.2, and this is a big deal because this one's got a big inverted cup and handle, and it's approaching the breakdown point of that. The VIX up 4.30, back in the 20s, 20.74 was the close. The TRIN on Tuesday, huge close. This is going to take that moving average way up. So 2.94 close on Tuesday and 1.16 on the moving average. So that moving average is not going to be relevant for a while here. The Nasdaq volume was 2.6 billion, the same on Tuesday, a little bit less on Monday, but pretty close. Here's the big news. Advanced decline ratio is so negative, negative 2,172 on Tuesday, the second worst day of the year on the New York negative 1923, the third or fourth worst day of the year. Google loses 53.89 on Tuesday. Apple down 8.13. Netflix loses 14.97. Amazon down 103.96 points. Big down day for Amazon. Lost everything that it had gained on the gap up on Monday. That gap up, by the way, is going to hurt some people. Anybody that bought that gap is now really underwater within 2 days. Tesla up 1.21. So Tesla's one of the few stocks that were up on Tuesday. Facebook down $3.16. Goldman Sachs down 7.32. Dow Jones Industrial Average basically down 800 points. That's a big loss there for the Dow. We don't watch the Dow much, obviously. It's not very relevant. TLT, the 20-year bond ETF, up $1.94. All right, in terms of the intraday data, or intraday, here's the 5-minute candle. So this is interesting. The Monday was the gap up. First of all, the opening candle on Monday is the high of the week. Even though we didn't do much on Monday intraday, that was still the high. We did slip a little bit from that. On Tuesday, you can see we gapped down slightly. We never filled the gap, and then it was over lunch when those comments came out. We sold off sharply, tried to bounce coming back out of lunch. That didn't work, and closed near the lows of the day. Here's the Nasdaq side, pretty much the same. So the high of the week is the gap up. It means everybody that's bought this week is underwater, and there's been some pretty heavy volume. That's not a great scenario for a lot of people. All right, in terms of economic data and what we have left for the week, on the Thursday, we've got the OPEC meetings. We've got challenger job cuts at 7:30 a.m. Some of this is shifted because the markets were closed Wednesday for the funeral. 8:15 a.m., ADP non-farm employment change. 8:30, revised non-farm payroll. The trade balance number, that's a big number. The initial and continuing jobless claims, that's the weekly number. 9:45 is our final services PMI number. 10 o'clock, ISM non-manufacturing PMI. Factory orders, At 11 o'clock, crude oil inventories, that's moved from Wednesday due to the funeral, and then the Fed chair speaking at 6:45 in the evening. On Friday, what's left is we still have the unemployment rate and the non-farm payroll numbers an hour before the bell, preliminary University of Michigan sentiment at 10, along with wholesale inventories, natty gas at 10:30, that's bumped today because of the funeral, and consumer credit at 3 in the afternoon. A lot of data left. Obviously, the market's shaken a bit. The current look at the markets suggests a fairly flat opening on but we'll see. I mean, something's going to happen here overnight. Let's be honest. We're going to get a move and a gap more than likely after that one. So I don't think we're going to open flat at all. Charts as usual brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple of weeks. Have a great trading Thursday and Friday.